Last week we took a look at what many of the geopoliticians have said would be a bad deal with regard to Iran and their nuclear aspirations. Israel has said this is a bad deal, what we have on the boards at this point. I want to take a look at what a number of these geopolitical observers are saying would be a good deal. So let me just cite some of these things that others have pointed out. As the P5+1, the P5+1 is China, Russia, France, the UK, the USA, and Germany. As the P5+1 and Iran began to draft the final agreement, now is the time for the international community to reassert and fortify its demands for components of a good agreement with Iran. The international community should focus on a better deal that does the following. Number one, it dismantles Iran's illicit underground facilities and other infrastructure that can be used to develop and produce nuclear weapons. Number two, it prohibits advanced centrifuge R&D, research and development, that would cut Iran's nuclear breakout time to nearly zero. They could have a nuclear weapon overnight. Number three, it requires that Iran come clean with the IAEA, that's the International Atomic Energy Agency. It's a member of UN. There's 164 members there. This requires the Iran come clean and be honest with the IAEA about its suspected efforts to develop nuclear warheads. They're denying it, but it's suspected that they are working toward that. Number four, it allows for anytime and anywhere inspections given Iran's track record of illicit and dishonest nuclear activity. They've lied about it in the past. Will they not lie about it in the future? Number five, it ends Iran's prohibited ballistic missile program intended to develop and deliver systems for nuclear warheads to targets around the world. It stops the missile system. And number six, it links the lifting of restrictions to Iran ceasing its sponsorship of terrorism around the world, number one. Secondly, its aggression against its neighbors, number two. And thirdly, its calls for Israel's destruction. Now that's a good deal. Israel agrees with that, and many of the leaders of the world agree with that. Will Iran agree to that? Absolutely not. Not a chance. No way, Jose. They will not agree to that. Which will no doubt inevitably lead to the necessity, once again, of Israel conducting a preemptive strike that will dismantle, destroy, certainly diminish indefinitely Iran's nuclear capability and their aspirations. At this point, I think it's well for Christians and Jews to understand the role of the Bible and Iran. The Bible speaks of Iran, speaks of Persia, and it speaks of it in the last days. For example, in Ezekiel 38 and 39, we have the Gog and Magog war. And in 38:1, the word of the Lord came to me, says Ezekiel, Son of man, set your face against Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I am against you, O Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Then it cites some nations that make up the confederation of nations that are coming against Israel and that God is against. And among them is Persia, that's Iran. Cush, that's the Upper Nile region. Put, that's Libya. And then it speaks of Gomer and Beth Togarmah. And those are all in Eastern Asia Minor, or an expanded Turkey. And there is competition today on who is going to lead the Islamic Caliphate. Sunnis and Shiites alike want to see the restoration of the Islamic Caliphate. Who will lead that? Well, one of those who made no bones about an aspiration of leadership, being the Caliph, is the president of Turkey, Erdogan. Well, if that will happen, we'll have to wait and see. But it does appear that the leadership comes out of what is modern-day Turkey. But Iran will be significant. They won't be the prominent leadership, but they will be significant in that. At the same time, I think it's important for us to recognize that our whole understanding of the end times and the latter days is evolving. Eschatology is a work in progress. We don't have all the finality of that in mind at this point. As a matter of fact, Daniel is told in chapter 12 of his prophecy, verse 4, he says, "But you, Daniel, close up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end." So we know in part, but at the time of the end, there will be additional instruction that God gives his people. He says in verse 9, "Go your way, Daniel, because the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end." Verse 10 concludes, "But those who are wise will understand." So at the time of the end, there will be additional knowledge. God's people are going to know exactly what's happening when it happens. He will raise up his servants, and he will instruct through his servants to his people what's going on. So this is what we can expect. And it appears that our understanding of the end times is going to come much sooner than later. So stand by. Stay tuned. Till next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, until Messiah comes, Yivaraka Yahweh. Yahweh bless you. Yahweh bless those you love and those who love you.
Eyes open, summer 2014. The sound of thunder woke me up from my sleep. Throngs of angry people storming European streets, waving signs, shouting things that you wouldn't believe. Death to Jews in France, no chance you heard me. Even worse, it was gas to Jews in Germany. I don't know about you, but it's starting to worry me. Barely made the news. It's cool they assure me just Muslim immigrants watching Gaza and worrying. Israel's killing innocents is really unnerving them. And maybe they in ignorance show something disturbing. A little overzealous, that accounts for their wording. At least that's what they tell us, so we ignore what's emerging. And unfortunately, it's working. We got no idea about the evil that's lurking. There's a storm coming. If all this hate's about the state of Israel, now what's that got to do with pulling food from the shelves of a grocer in London who was too afraid to sell something kosher, lest he be attacked as well? What that Jewish home pharmacy burned down in Sarcelle, when Muslims bombed a synagogue with Molotov cocktails. The day in 1942, Nazis murdered Jews there. My getting through to you, my making it clear it's anti-Semitism, not anti-Israel. So you still living with that, think it's no big deal? All this violence and hate, they ain't going nowhere. We can't wish it away with some span or a spell. Get your head out of the sand, Europe, this is for real. Can't unsee what I've seen, don't unhear what I tell. Jew hatred runs deep, it's a bottomless well. Now that hatred is back, like cancerous cells. Jews are under attack, somebody ring the bell. It's high tide, water rising, better brace for the swell. There's a storm coming. Listen, hear that thunder in the distance, getting closer every minute. Did you ever wonder what you're missing? When you're too busy to pay attention, can't you sense it? Storm's coming any minute. No sense in waiting till we're in it. 2 by 2 we gon' send them for the rain starts spilling. Now you know we got a mission, are you with me? I ain't being alarmist, I ain't trying to shock. The summer wasn't anything like Kristallnacht. There was a day you see what's coming or you choose to not. Like when Theodore Herzl witnessed how they dragged us in the dock, a decorated French Jew accused of treason. Jacques Hughes convicted for no reason. Paris streets that were teeming with people shouting and screaming, no doubt about it increasing. Their drivers couldn't appease them, cause they'd imagined a grievance, like credence to believe that maybe the Jews were the reason for all the problems they seeing. Herzl watched the proceedings and then it hit him the need of his fellow Jews for a state. The only place they'd be free from the tidal wave of hate about to flood the whole region. He made his case for escape. He tried to reach him, but it was too late before the world believed him. He saw the storm coming. That was back in 1894, 40 years before the show would hit Europe shores. What if they listened when he tried to warn about the storm clouds he saw beginning to form? What if they listened to Noah when he was building the ark? Not a cloud in the sky, man, no cause for alarm. But he had the foresight to see the flood from afar. Not to see as he liked, but see things as they are. Now seeing it's easy, but believing it's hard. Cause then we choose to ignore it or to do our part. Do we lay on the beach and watch the sky grow dark? Or do we stand in the breach and get the people ashore? We got no excuse, don't gotta look that far. See the storm clouds gathering, the sky grow dark. Hear the thunder rattle, see the lightning spark. There's a storm coming, whether we're ready or not. Listen, Hear that thunder in the distance, getting closer every minute. Did you ever wonder what you're missing? When you're too busy to pay attention, can't you sense it? Storms coming any minute. No sense in waiting till we're in it. 2 by 2 we gon' send them for the rain start spilling. Now you know we got a mission, are you with me? Right, there's so many guys that think it don't hurt so to see it. So why does it take the likes of ISIS then for us to believe it? They screaming death to the Jews and Hitler was right. You think they don't mean it? Just ask the 4 people dead outside that Belgian museum. I ain't saying be scared, I got my rhymes and my reasons. I'm talking signs and the seasons, you gotta know how to read them. So to swallow, I'm pleading. If you can follow, I'm bleeding. I'll do my best to get you there. I'll be your second Jawir. That old serpent, sown a lot to see. One day soon, he's coming to reap. Let's not wait for that fruit, man, those roots run deep. Was there ever an age when hating Jews wasn't the thing? It comes and goes in waves like a pendulum swings. And there's a wall of water coming like you wouldn't believe. Never again, happen again, I ain't waiting to see. No, I'ma warn him about the storm and I'ma help him to leave. El Al, the higher ground, touchdown in Tel Aviv. Up to Yisrael, where the showman never sleeps. We going 2 by 2, you finally see what I mean. Headed to an arc between the Jordan and the sea. אז בוא נעלה למדינת היהודים.